What's going on, guys? We're out here in Alabama. We're at Morris Mountain in Delta, and it's been a wet one, and we're about to get some nasty weather, but we made the best out of it. Still got Twizzlers still.
So going in blind, didn't know much of what to expect here. Didn't see many of the obstacles. I knew it was gonna be a little bit of a gnarlier park, especially with a little bit of wetness out here, but was excited for the challenge.
It's like 8 hours. This is like the closest park, and I've never been to this one. Pleasantly surprised. It's a tiny little park, but it packs a punch.
I mean, when it's wet, wheel spin is what does it out here. If it's a dry park, it's a great crawling park.
It's debatable whether it's a buggy park or not, but
yeah.
Good as new. Good as new.
Squeaky clean, dude.
Yeah, so we started off with good, bad, ugly, which is basically like, I call it like a little shakedown obstacle. So if you can't make it up that, or if you try to make it up, you'll find out if your lockers aren't working, if bad U-joints, noises, steering, like that's the first trail that we do to just make sure everything's like working on the rigs.
the 40s are great, and I love them. I've run them for a while now, but I'm gonna need to bump up here soon because I caught everything on that first day.
This park is a lot of clay, so it's like a lot of this red clay on top of the rocks. The rock itself is pretty good, it's got a lot of traction, but once you come through the trail and get all that clay and water in your tires, you get up on the rocks, you literally have to get it off the tires to get any movement.
Danny did really good. He would go through pretty darn fast, but that's his wheeling style. And I would watch him and I was like, you know what? If you're going, why not stop? You know, if you can keep that inertia going.
It takes a while to dry out, so you got to heat up the tires and get everything cleaned out to actually get a good bite.
Yes, the Baja Pro XS, the stickies, yeah, brand new, still have the little spider legs on there. They're doing great. I've always loved my stickies. They lay down a good set of rubber if you warm them up, and then because of the lugs, they'll grip for days.
The wetness wasn't really helping clear off rocks. It was somehow making it worse with more mud and everything on it, especially with more people riding through it. There were a few diff catchers out here. We did hit that a couple times. I think with the new 42s, me sitting a little bit higher did help out. I felt like I could clear a lot more than the battering ram I typically do. Kind of had to bob and weave around some of those, like I said, some of those diff catchers.
And we went and did Gator, which is like that little kind of technical one, and dude, like there was Jeeps that I've seen never struggle in something very simple.
Right.
I guess one way to kind of explain this park is kind of like Gulches that we did a couple years ago. It's not the biggest park when it comes to like land area out here, but you have trails and offshoots kind of back to back next to each other. So there's plenty of stuff to hit out here within a couple 100 feet.
Hornets Nest, which is the one that we did after Gator, that was full of like that polished rock, and it looked kind of scary. I even told Dennis, and I told you, I'm like, bro, we might be here for hours.
This park is also probably one of the more noticeable that I've seen tire warm up make a big difference. We've had several times where we've warmed up tires and you could see the car start creeping up, which is why you warm up tires. It's cool to see.
It was a pattern for the weekend. So once basically once you get on a rock, it's heating tires up no matter what you're on.
Yeah.
So, and we all got pretty used to that.
Made it happen. It was just loud. You would hear us from the campsite.
So it was good because we were able to actually really push our rigs and find some different limits.
Yeah.
So it made that one fun.
This shit is not fat kid friendly.
It was only like an hour and a half maybe of being on the trail before it started to rain on us.
Yeah.
And it changed the dynamic for the day. It changed everybody's attitudes about how we're gonna hit stuff, how we're gonna approach stuff, what we're gonna do, what we're even willing to attempt.
Yeah, so that was Copperhead. Copperhead is doable with a good rig in the dry. You could crawl it, but most of the time everyone's been sending it now.
Danny took us to this wonderful obstacle of just a very gnarly V-notch. The rock was wet, everything was wet, and ultimately got denied several times. We got very twisted and turned and sideways and upside down and all kinds of crazy good. I could literally see it climbing on my glasses. Why do they have so many bugs out here, man? Jesus.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Now I'm swarmed by all of them.
I ain't scared. Now we kind of
Sometimes I'll push my luck. Like sometimes things happen in like a split second. And then that's when everything just goes downhill from there. So that's always in the back of my head. I know it's not if it's gonna happen of me rolling over, but kind of when. I'm just hoping that when it does happen, it won't hurt very bad. And there won't be too much damage because we still have more events to do. Like that car's not going away. Like, that's why you build them up. That's why you put your roll cages. That's why you put your safety restraints. That's why you put all your safety equipment in these cars, because it's, again, it's not an if, it's a when.
So we got to that area and it was just intended for, hey, we're gonna go hang out and have lunch here. And a couple people wanted to put tires on it, so we took a break and a couple people did. I think most of us did.
and got to this playground, which was a pretty cool little area where you can kind of sit and observe people. It's big enough to kind of watch, and then you have some steps kind of like middle to the left, and then some like muddy steps towards the middle, and then to the right you just have a pretty vertical and tipsy V-notch.
They're definitely buggy lines. You can see people that have a caged out vehicle, that's exactly where they needed to be. We tried V-notch earlier in the day and I just wasn't getting it, but it turns out I was doing it 4 high. I needed to put it in 4 low, which is my fault. I'm still learning my Atlas transfer case.
One of the guys that comes here regular was like, if you stay far on the left side and just kind of ride the entire wall up, it'll put you in a pretty good position to try and climb it. So I said, okay, let's do it. I stayed on that wall as much as we could. We picked up tires several times on it. But ultimately got myself in a pretty good position, or what I thought was a pretty good position to try and heat up tires and go up. I heated up, I think I went up to 3rd on that one to try and heat them up and put up some smoke in there. And then I stupidly hit the clutch a little bit too soon and backed all the way down that, and then it just ruined all the heat, all of the water that I took off. And
I pushed the clutch in too soon. Huh? I know, man. Damn it.
I just tried to set up the next guy, make sure that the rocks are clean for him. That was kind of my run on the V-notch on that one.
Get it off. Go back. He was on it too.
Cameron's got a great rig. She's always willing to send it. Yeah, she's good. She can get through things that everybody else can't because it's so light and maneuverable. Alex's rig, that thing can wheel, it can go, and he sends it too. He doesn't care. Oh, I think he cares, but I mean, he's willing to. Let's say he's willing to take the risk.
With it being such a big area, we can kind of plant vehicles in different sections to where we could kind of sit there and watch other people do it. And we had a lot of locals out here. We had a few buggies out here. We had a couple people that like know these obstacles like the back of their hands.
But when we went back to V-Notch, there was people redlining and smoking off the tires for like 10-20 minutes, and then eventually like 6 or 7 different guys made it up that, so it was pretty cool.
It was one of those obstacles where V-Notch is like, it's technical, where your line really matters, kind of like out west stuff, but it's typical East Coast wheeling where you have to get hot tires,
still gotta commit,
and some momentum.
He heated up some tires and hit it and made it up, and I think that kind of set the mood for a lot of people of like, all right, this is doable now. So having a smoke show of between tires and oil and just off-camera stuff, like everything is just, it was just smoke everywhere, and it's just so funny. It's awesome. Watching all the buggies go through, we had a Samurai come through, which was super cool because you go from these big buggies to like this small Samurai that just gets it done, right? So he was over there a little off camber. There was one part where they were holding him with a strap to try and move him to a different section, and super fun to watch.
It was just amazing. You would see people going, and it's like that one little inch, and it would sit there, and then it would go another inch, and it would sit there, and maybe 3 inches, and I was like, they're not going to make it. And you're like, wait a minute, that thing is it's creeping, literally creeping.
That was a workout.
And ultimately made it up through this obstacle, not without breaking the bead on his passenger front tire. So luckily we had the power tanks out here. I grabbed my power tank, grabbed all the attachments for it, and walked it up to him and filled up his tire in seconds. And he was back out having a good time.
7.5.
That's good. Thank you, man.
Of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Then part 2 of going to the exact same spot, I was sitting there fuming, watching everybody making it. I was like, oh man, this is definitely doable. And I know I got the rig for it. So then, yeah, I listened to them, and then he said, follow the exact same line, and you can see in the video how I'm going. I think Chris tells me that right side has to drop. And as soon as the right side dropped, I was able to start churning it and then lay down that rubber, and I got it up it, yeah. Oh, and I also realized I was actually going up it as I went more passenger. So I would go driver, it would want to go, but as I went more passenger, all of a sudden it was shooting. I was like, oh, we got something here. It made my day. That made the entire day. Even all the mud, the rain.
Yeah.
It was good.
Anybody got some toilet paper?
The last thing we kind of checked out, again, in that little playground area is an obstacle called Punisher. And I could see why it's called that.
Yeah, so he actually got in there, like he was set up, got on the line and everything, was ready to hit it. And then I guess his drive shaft was too short, so it overextended and just popped out the splines.
So once his rig bounced
Full
back
send.
up after he hit it, the rear basically dropped and separated the shaft.
I think it was pretty good. I mean, it definitely was. I planned it to be an easier Friday for the group. That way it set the tone for Saturday.
Well, we say easier. We did half of the park.
Yeah, we did it. We did it pretty. We were moving pretty quick. So I think we're about to get hail right now. So we're gonna wrap up day 1 and we'll start day 2. You'll see us next week in the next video, but I think that's it for now, guys, because we're gonna have to rain. Cameras are about to get wet. We're out. Later, guys.
See ya.
But the park itself is super beautiful park, super wooded areas, and you have a lot of gnarly obstacles that you could hit in no time. So definitely excited for day 2 to see what kind of trouble we can get into.
What's the plan? Well,
Oh, there it is.